Yo, what's good YouTube? In today's video, I got y'all the new top 5 meta loadouts after the season 5 reloaded update. If you enjoyed today's video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, so hopping into here, our first gun up today is going to be the Kilo 141. If you guys saw my short where I did actually showcase the guns that got buffed and nerfed, the Kilo was indeed one of them, and it's actually going to be a decent bit better now, probably taking over the #1 meta slot. So let's get y'all the build for it. First thing, magazine, we're gonna go here and throw on extended mag 2. I highly believe you guys should just be running extended mag 2. No reason to go down here and run extended mag 3. It really does not matter. You guys just should be running extended mag 2. Gets you 60 rounds to the mag, and it's not going to be overkill down here like this for 70 with all these extra different cons, you know, right above my face cam there. Not worth it. Go for extended mag 2. After that underbarrel section, this was not changed in terms of like underbarrel attachments to use. You should always be using the vertical foregrip. Basically, the vertical foregrip and the Ranger foregrip are going to be the best foregrips in the game. The G grip, ever since it was added in, has largely been a little bit more useless. So you should just go and use the vertical or the Ranger if you are going to choose between either of them. But for an AR and a long range AR, you should really exclusively be using the vertical. Get help unlocking Dark Matter, Abyss, and Nebula camos in Black Ops 6 with Mitch Cactus. They're absolutely the biggest and most reliable in Call of Duty right now. Whether you want something across multiplayer, zombies, or Warzone, they're completely legitimate for all platforms. They're super trusted by the community, and you may have seen them all over YouTube, and that's for good reason. They'll unlock all your camos, augments, and more without needing to lift a finger. With over 17,000 reviews and thousands of personalized vouchers, they're the go-to for all things in Call of Duty. Use code CHUCK at checkout for 5% off. Barrel section, this is where it gets a little bit fun. So we like to use the reinforced barrel on this thing just because it gives you that increased your, bullet velocity and your damage range. Your damage range is really awesome at 56.3 meters. It did get a bit of a damage range increase. So honestly, that is really solid. I wouldn't really recommend going for that gain twist. I know it says like 45 meters. Honestly, it's not bad, right? But with your bullet velocity still being over 1100 and getting a good effective damage range, there's no real reason to go for the gain twist barrel. You should just go for the reinforce and enjoy your extra damage range, as going from 45 to 56 is quite a difference. It's not like it's a 3-4 meter difference or something like that. So you definitely want to go for that. Next up, muzzle. I'd still recommend going for the compensator or the ported compensator. No reason, unless you're like an absolute elite player, to go for the mono suppressor, because obviously there will be recoil. So go for the ported or the compensator to kind of test it out in the firing range and see what works best for you. Obviously the ported is going to be better with that first shot recoil, but not as good for overall recoil. I personally don't have an issue with the first shot recoil, so for me, I'm going to go for the regular compensator, as I want better recoil over sustained fire, as that's what you're doing in Warzone. It's not like you're firing 1 or 2 shots off. You are firing largely probably 10, 20, 30. Sometimes people are dumping a full mag down range, so it's kind of crazy. But anyways, compensator is the move. Optic section, few different things in here you guys can use if you're playing something like Rebirth Island, which is what I primarily play. I recommend going for something like maybe the Volziski Reflex. This is a really clear sight. You can even go for any of the red dots on here, like the Dobrich, the accused spot, kind of like really whatever you want. Even something down here to the Kepler Notero red dots. Not my personal choice for a red dot, but they're not bad. It's just I don't really care to use them. And then if you want something with a bit more zoom on it, I could recommend the Willis 3x, the Jason Armory 2x. And even down here a little bit further, I know some people like the R&K multi-zoom. I personally don't. I don't really like the R&K multi-zoom. I feel like it just zooms in a little bit weird, even at 3x magnification. Don't really go use the 7x on this thing. Not beneficial. If you have to use a 7x scope, that means you are in sniper territory, and that is not beneficial to be even firing at them in the first place. So R&K multi-zoom is decent, and then of course my recommendations would be stick from the Willis, the Jason, pretty much on up, and any of these can be good. I'm not really much of a fan of these 1.5x magnifications, these two right here, but if you want to use one of those, definitely go ahead and do it. But I'm gonna go and choose the Volziski, as this is my go-to, and of course when I'm gonna customize it for the reticle, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on there, the blue dot, red dot. Absolutely love that. That right there is my full build. Next up, I got to give y'all a build here for the C9 in the update. The C9 technically did get a nerf, but like with any nerf in the game, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to see for yourself, and when you actually use this gun, it functions almost identically to pre-patch. So let's give you guys the build for it. First thing, magazine. We're gonna go throw on extended mag 2 here. This has not changed. you guys want to stick with extended mag 2. I know I'm going to get probably some questions or people like, why would you not use the 10 mil auto 30? Because it increases your damage range, your bullet velocity, your damage, stuff like that. I know there's the con of it lowering your fire rate based on the trade-off of it lowering the fire rate, increasing the kick, stuff like that. And also only having 30 rounds in the mag, it almost becomes essentially inherently way less effective than just having a regular extended mag on. So I'd recommend just to go for regular extended mag because, well, having 30 rounds in a mag when you're playing trios and quads, you know, anything above solos is not beneficial. And even in solos, just go for extended mag 1. There's no real damage trade-off to the point where the 10 mil is going to be better. Just go for extended mag 1 or 2, pending, you know, solos, and then basically for everything else. Moving on back here, the rear grip, you guys want to go for that ergonomic grip. This is what I run on every single one of my SMGs. Like, unless I'm building out something maybe exclusively for ranked play, which I don't play personally, I don't care. So, you know, then obviously you'd make it a little bit different, but the ergonomic is for everybody else. All of us people that are just gonna be playing, you know, Verdansk, Rebirth, you know, regular, what if, no matter if you want to jump into casual at all, you just want to be using the ergonomic grip on this thing. Stock section, what I recommend is going to go for the Infiltrator stock. Absolutely love the Infiltrator. Having that aim walking movement speed is super huge. Those guys that are just looking at it as like a base metric, like, oh, I can, you know, aim walk a little bit faster. That's really cool. But the actual true benefit is obviously being able to aim walk faster. When you do that, you're able to, you know, ADS, have peak accuracy. Your aim assist kicks in more because of, you know, the rotational aim assist. And you also become a harder target to hit because you're moving. So it's kind of like a nice little 2-3 for 1, even though it only says one thing right there. Still think the Infiltrator stock is the move. Otherwise, you can run the balance stock, and that's going to be perfectly acceptable as well. But for my go-to, I'm running the Infiltrator. Underbarrel section, this is kind of up to you guys what you want. The vertical foregrip is perfectly acceptable right here. I'd recommend to use the vertical or the Ranger. The Ranger will give you obviously more of that sprinting movement speed, which is cool, makes you feel a little bit faster, but you will have less of that horizontal recoil control, which I can't remember off the top of my head if they nerfed the recoil on it a little bit. I think it was only nerfing the damage range ever so slightly, but when you look at the detailed stats, you can't really tell. So Ranger foregrip right here and the vertical foregrip, both are great. I'm going to choose the vertical for the sake of just having a little bit of versatility or just, you know, difference in my builds. So I really like that. And then for lastly, we're going to go to the barrel section, and basically it's going to come down to using the long barrel or the reinforced barrel. The reason I say it comes down to either or is because, well, 16.1 meters versus 18.2 meters. Are you really going to notice that 2 meter difference? Maybe, maybe not. I've used the reinforced, it hits like a truck. I've used the long barrel, it's like a truck, right? So if you start using it out past, of course, that 20-ish meter range, then you're definitely going to start noticing that bullet velocity drop off, in which case maybe the reinforced would be a little bit better. But overall, you really shouldn't be using an SMG out past 20 meters anyways. At that point, you should probably pick up the AR, as your drop off is going to start being more severe, and people that are going to have like a GPR, a Kilo, anything else like that are going to outgun you. So choose either or of these, see what works best for you. It can even come down to a visual thing. I think the reinforced barrel looks cooler than long barrel, but basically both work great. So I'm going to choose that, and that right there is my full build. All right, next up, I'm going to give you all a build here for the GPR 91. This is a really, really solid resurgence, and of course, big map AR, and I actually quite like using it. But the only downside I will say here, the first thing is that it does kind of bother me, the magazine reload. Not the biggest fan of that. That is like the only downside in my opinion. So you guys can use Extended Mag 2, or you should be using Extended Mag 2, obviously, because you're using this as a long range. We're not going to be going for a sniper support build. This is just a true long range AR is what we're going for. Underbarrel section, y'all want to go for that vertical foregrip here as per usual. Ain't got to explain this one too much. It's the best for long distance ARs, stuff like that. Barrel section, this is where it's a little bit fun. So basically you can go for the gain twist barrel. If you're playing something like Verdansk, I would recommend this just because bullet velocity means sometimes a little bit more than having a slightly better damage range. So for the reinforced barrel, you're going to be playing Rebirth Island. And then if you're going to be playing Verdansk, I'd recommend the gain twist barrel. And even at that point, if you're playing Rebirth, you can still run the gain twist or the reinforced, just kind of up to you and what you want to go for. Overall, it'd be pretty fun to be able to use the gain twist and the reinforced. I've used both. I think they're both effective, but I'm going to go for the reinforced barrel for this particular build, as I'm going to be doing something a little bit interesting with it. So next attachment, though, we're going to go for a compensator. This just helps the vertical recoil. guys definitely want to go and do this. Highly recommend you guys go for the compensator. It does make a big difference. And then lastly, we're actually going to skip the optic because we're going to be using the iron sights on this thing, and we're going to go for the overpressured rounds here, which will boost you out to essentially right where that gain twist barrel would be with your increased damage range. So you now have a 1209 meter per second bullet velocity as opposed to 1008. So I actually really like this. This is a really fun build to use. If you guys don't want to go for this, obviously switch this out for an optic. Go in here, use your Volziski, your 3 times, whatever. But I think that build that I gave you guys is really fun to run. Also, another one you can try and switch it out for is you can even go for the mono suppressor. And I think this literally gets you to the same thing. Oh, your damage range a little bit increased there. So you go for the mono suppressor, and you can even go down here and throw on the recoil springs instead and kind of see how that works for you. So a few different ways to run the GPR. It's pretty fun. Next up, it could be a build here for the Ladra. Ladra is one of the best SMGs in the game right now. Highly recommend this thing. We're going to keep this very simple and short on this build. So first thing, I like to actually go for Extended Mag 1. Reason being is that Extended Mag 1, I just feel so much faster with it as opposed to Extended Mag 2. There's just something about it. I really like the sprint to fire difference. It's not like going to be ridiculous, right? Like the sprint to fire. But I mean, that 17%, you know, decrease essentially in your sprint to fire, you know, from 135 down to 115, like it is noticeable enough to the point where it does make a difference. So for me, I like Extended Mag 1, and it's also got 55 rounds in the mag, so that's really good. Rear grip section, of course, ergonomic grip. In the stock section, you guys want to go for either the Infiltrator or the balanced stock. Basically, either or is going to be fine. I never really recommend the no stock on these SMGs. There's like better things like having the ADS movement speed or just getting some other movement speed metrics increased, which are going to be better than just having the no stock. So go for the Infiltrator, go for the balance, up to you. I'm going to go for the Infiltrator. That's my go-to. Underbarrel section, you guys want to just go for the Ranger foregrip on this thing. You can go for the vertical if you feel like the recoil is a bit too much for you. No shame in that. You got to build it out for yourself and, you know, understand your strengths and weaknesses. So go for the Ranger. And then lastly, barrel section, you just want to go for the long barrel here. I know the reinforce is 14.9, but I do believe that basically when you use this gun, having it at a 16.8 is going to be a lot better than, you know, the 14.9. So just go for that. Honestly, you're not using this outside of that real close range anyways. So you just want to go ahead and run the long barrel to maximize your first damage profile, which is going to be that 16.8 meters. So slap it on there, and that right there is your full build. Last but not least, I got to give y'all a build here for the HDR, as this is still technically speaking the #1 sniper to use just because of the infinite one-shot headshot damage range. So you really don't have to build this thing out for actual damage range too much. So let's get into it here. First thing we're going to do is go for the muzzle, and we're going to go through on the mono suppressor. Keep in mind, mine's not even all the way leveled up because I don't use it as much. I just know how to actually use it when I do need to. So mono suppressor is indeed the move, increases your overall bullet velocity. Damage range, like I said, it's not the biggest thing in the world to have increased, but obviously, you know, this is the most effective thing to increase the bullet velocity. So we're going to go ahead and slap that on there. Barrel section, you guys just want to go for the gain twist barrel. This is really all that matters with this thing, increasing the bullet velocity out as much as possible. Obviously, 792 with the long barrel is just ridiculous, and the reinforce having 871 is trash. So we're gonna go for the gain twist and make this thing as effective as it can be with that. So we're gonna slap that on there. Now for the underbarrel, you guys basically can just go for really something in here. I'll just go for like the lightweight bipod. Just to help with your aiming idle sway, as this is more of like a big map, you know, sniper. You're gonna be ADSing. It's like you're quick scoping with this thing, right? So this helps your aiming idle sway, and I'd say that is actually really solid. Now going on back here to the stock section, you guys just want to throw on the heavy stock. This helps with your flinch resistance. I know going down here to the combat stock, this can also help with your flinch, which is, you know, honestly really good. This gets you minus 15 on the flinch versus the heavy stock gets you minus 35. Basically the 35 being the con, like you get, you know, that much better. It's like you get an extra 20% flinch benefit from running heavy versus combat. Of course, the combat will give you some extra pros and stuff like that, but if you want to stay truly on target, the heavy stock is going to be the move. And lastly, in the fire mod section, we're just going to go for the overpressured rounds here, which increase your bullet velocity out to 1184. Nice little 15% increase. And of course, your damage at effective range, we're not too concerned with that, as this does have the infinite one-shot headshot distance on it. So you're overall very taken care of. Anyways, that right there is going to be my full build. That's my top 5. You guys enjoyed it? Give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen. I'll see you all next time.